Night covers the hospital like a thin blanket. The lights in the corridor stay on, but they look tired. A heart monitor beeps in a slow rhythm. A cartwheel squeaks somewhere far away. The cameras watch the hallway. The doors stand still. Nurses move with quiet steps. Everything looks calm. It should be calm. It should be safe. A 12-year-old girl lies in a small room at the end of the corridor. She is here for care. She is under watch. A chart at the bedside says close supervision. A band on her wrist holds her name. The blanket is pulled to her chin. The air feels cold. She stares at the ceiling light and counts the soft beeps. She wants this night to pass fast. She wants morning to come. Her mother sits at home with a phone in her hand. She waits for updates. She trusts the building with white walls and long rules. She trusts trained people and fixed routines. She tells herself, they will keep my child safe. She repeats it like a quiet prayer. She believes care means safety. She believes watch means protection. The clock on her wall ticks to the next minute. Back at the hospital, the night team follows the plan. A nurse signs a form. Another checks a screen. Someone fills a cup with water and places it near the bed. Someone else looks at the door alarm and nods. The plan is clear. The rules are clear. Rounds happen on time. Notes must be exact. Eyes must stay open. Ears must stay ready. That is the promise, but promises need people. People get tired. People juggle many tasks. A call light blinks in another room. A patient coughs down the hall. A machine asks for a reset. The printer runs out of paper. One small thing pulls a worker away from the desk. Then another small thing pulls someone else. The corridor becomes quiet again. Too quiet. The camera at the end of the hall points one way, not both ways. It sees the straight line, not the corner. The heart monitor shows numbers, not feelings. The form shows check marks, not time lost. The clock keeps moving, and no one argues with a clock. The night grows older. The building breathes in slow, even sounds. The girl shifts under the blanket. She thinks of a sketchbook at home. She thinks of a bus ride, music in her ears, and a laugh she shared with a friend at lunch. She thinks of her mother's warm hand. She thinks of morning. She whispers, morning. The word floats into the dark space and fades. A nurse passes the door, looks through the small window, and writes on the clipboard. Another nurse answers a phone. Yes, stable, the voice says. The computer accepts the note without a question. The computer always accepts notes. It is a machine. It does not know fear. On the wall, a poster lists safety steps. Constant watch, check every 15 minutes, test alarms, record times. The poster is straight. The edges are crisp. The letters are bold. It looks strong. It looks like a shield, but paper is still paper. At home, the mother glances at the phone again. She almost calls the unit, then decides not to. She wants to trust. She wants to sleep. She places the phone on her pillow and closes her eyes. The phone light blinks once, then sleeps too. In the corridor, the clock passes 1:10. The air hums. A cleaning machine rolls by and then disappears. The door at the end of the hall is heavy. It opens with a slow push and closes with a hard click. It is supposed to make staff feel safe. It is supposed to make parents feel safe. The handle is cold to the touch. A nurse checks a medication cart. The keys jingle, then still. A printer in the station coughs out a page. Someone signs it and puts it in a blue folder. Two staff talk in low voices about another patient. They speak in short words. They are careful, not careless. They are human, not perfect. Inside the room, the girl stares at the door. She listens for footsteps. She wants to hear someone say her name. The beeps keep going, steady, slow. She breathes in and out and tries to match the rhythm. She tells herself, I am safe. She says it again, softer. I am safe. The camera at the ceiling blinks its small red light. It sees a slice of the hall. It does not see everything. It cannot move its own neck. It cannot turn to a new angle. A blind spot waits like a quiet corner in a school stairwell. It is not loud. It is just there. The minutes collect like small stones. 112, 117, 124. Each minute is a chance to look, to ask, to listen. Each minute can pass with nothing seen, nothing asked, nothing heard. The chart will still have lines. The form will still have check marks. The room will still have a bed and a blanket and a cup of water that no one drinks. The mother opens her eyes for a second. She checks the phone. No missed call. She nods to herself. No news is good news, she whispers. She closes her eyes again and tries to sleep. She does not see the corridor. She does not hear the printer, the keys, the slow beeps. She cannot know what the next minute holds. The staff member who was supposed to pass by at 1:30 walks a different route. A call light in room 12 keeps flashing. A colleague asks for help with a lift. The hall grows empty again. The clock turns to 1:31. It does not slow down for anyone. It does not warn anyone. It just moves. In a building of rules, the space between two checks becomes the most dangerous place. It looks like nothing. It sounds like nothing. It hides in plain sight. It lives in the moments when everyone believes someone else is watching. It grows when the team is thin, when the tasks are many, when the brain is tired, when the plan is only on paper. A crisp form sits on the desk with a blank line waiting for a signature. A pen rests on top. A chair is empty. The monitor beeps. The camera blinks. The door stays closed. The minute hand climbs. If someone looked 5 minutes sooner, would the story be different? If one door was watched, if one step was louder, if one call was answered faster, would morning look new? These are questions that only the timeline can answer, but the timeline is not a voice. It is a path we must follow. The night walks forward. The building keeps its calm face. And somewhere between the beeps and the blind spot, between a promise and a missed moment, the story changes shape. To understand how, the story must go back to the first promise. The first form, the first step through the hospital doors. Only then does the night make sense. Only then do the small misses show their true size, and only then can anyone say what went wrong. Morning starts with small sounds. A school bus groans in the street. A kettle clicks in the kitchen. A phone screen lights and fades. In a quiet room, a backpack waits by the chair. It knows the weight of textbooks and pencils. Today it feels lighter. Today it does not move. On the floor, a pair of sneakers faces the door like two small guards. They remember fast steps, games at recess, a race to the corner shop. Today they stand still. Next to them lies a sketchbook. The top page shows half a face, one eye drawn in careful lines. The other eye is only a circle waiting for detail. It looks like a secret that is not ready to speak. She is 12. She ties her hair with the slow, careful hands of a child who wants to look fine, but does not want to be seen. She reads messages on her phone and does not answer. Her mother calls from the kitchen. "Breakfast?" The girl says, "Not hungry." The mother notices the quiet. She notices the backpack still by the chair. She notices the eyes that look past her and land on nothing. School happens, but not inside her. The bell rings. She sits, she stands, she walks. She does not laugh at the joke she usually loves. In art class, she opens the sketchbook and draws one line, then another, then stops. The teacher asks, "You okay?" She says, "I'm fine." The word fine is a small door that hides a large room. At home that afternoon, the house is gentle. A TV whispers from the living room. The sink drips in a steady beat. The mother tries a soft voice. "Want to talk?" The girl shrugs. She moves to her room. The mother stands at the door and thinks, this is a phase. Then she thinks, what if it is not? Little signs add up like tiny stones in a pocket, heavy but easy to miss. A late homework, a lost appetite, a sudden fear of the dark hallway. The mother writes a list in her head and feels the list grow a spine. It stands up. It says, "Do something." Night comes early. The streetlights stretch long arms across the floor. The girl curls on the bed and pulls the blanket over her head. Her phone buzzes, then stops. The mother sits beside her and says, "We can call someone. We can go somewhere. You will not do this alone." The girl whispers, "I'm tired." The mother says, "I know." She does not know enough. The call for help is short. A voice on the line says, "Take her in. They will watch her." The mother hears the words watch and safe and holds them tight like keys. The girl puts on a hoodie. She slides into the sneakers. The sketchbook stays on the bed, open to the half-drawn eye. They step into the hallway. The building smells like old paint and winter air. The elevator is slow. In the mirror, the girl looks at herself, then looks away. The mother presses the button again, even though the light is already on. Waiting feels like falling. Outside, the night is clear. The car unlocks with a beep. The seats are cold. The mother drives in careful lines. She knows this route for checkups and colds, for stitches and shots. Tonight, the hospital is not for fever. Tonight it is for something she cannot hold with a hand. She glances at her child between traffic lights. The child stares at the road as if the road might tell a secret. At a red light, a bus rolls by. Its windows are little frames of strangers. Someone laughs. Someone sleeps. Two friends share headphones. The girl watches them and touches her wrist with the hospital band that is not yet there. She rubs the skin as if she can feel it already. The mother sees the small motion and says nothing. Words are thin. Silence feels safer. They park under a lamp. The hospital stands big and bright like a promise with a steel body. Automatic doors slide open with a quiet breath. Warm air reaches for them. A desk waits with a bell, a stack of forms, and a pen on a chain. The mother signs her name, her child's name, a box that says Guardian. Ink is heavy tonight. A nurse speaks in a calm, even voice. She asks for history. She asks about feelings. She asks if there were signs. The mother answers in sentences that feel too short for what is inside. The girl stares at the floor tile lines and counts them without moving her lips. 1, 2, 3, 4. If she makes it to 10, she promises herself she will look up. She does not make it to 10. Close supervision, the nurse says. She will be under watch. The words fall like blankets, soft, heavy, meant to warm. A security tag prints with a click. A band goes around the small wrist. The girl squeezes it and lets go. The mother almost asks, "How close is close?" Instead, she says, "Thank you." She wants to be polite to the people who hold the key. They take a short walk down a long hall. Posters of safety rules line the wall. Numbers, steps, checks. Every poster looks new. Every promise looks old. A door opens. A room waits. The bed has a clean sheet and a thin pillow. A gray chair sits in the corner like a quiet witness. The nurse shows the call button. If she needs anything, press this. The button is large. It looks easy to press. It always looks easy until the moment it is needed. The mother bends close. "I will come back in the morning," she says. "Call me if you want me sooner." The girl nods, a slow nod that could mean anything. Their hands touch, a brush, not a grip. The nurse stands by the door, kind but moving toward the next task. When the mother leaves, she places her palm flat on the glass of the unit door as if she can push safety through the pain. On the other side, the girl sits on the bed and looks at the floor again. She listens to the soft beeps, the soft shoes, the soft voices. Everything about this place is soft. Everything about the fear inside her is not. The mother walks back through the hall alone. The vending machine hums. The night guard nods. The parking lot feels too big. She climbs into the car and closes the door. The quiet holds her by the shoulders. She thinks of the sketchbook on the bed, the half-drawn eye, the circle waiting for lines. She promises herself, tomorrow they will finish that drawing. Tomorrow they will make it whole. She starts the car. Headlights cut a clean path across the concrete. The hospital stands behind her like a lighthouse. She tells herself, they will watch her. She says it twice. The words do not get stronger. They only get louder. Back inside, the unit settles into its pattern. A form needs a signature. A clock needs no permission. A camera points one way and not another. The girl slides under the blanket and watches the doorway through the small window. A nurse passes. A pen scratches. A button glows. This is where the story says it will be safe. This is where the system says it will not blink. This is where the night begins to test every promise made at that front desk. In 1 minute, the door will close with a soft click. In 5 minutes, the corridor will thin. In 15, a check will be due. And somewhere between those minutes, the question that will haunt everyone later begins to take shape. If the plan is clear, why does the path ahead feel so dark? The ward looks quiet, but it is not calm. Calm is a feeling. Quiet is only sound. Here, quiet hides things. A thin blue light runs along the floor, guiding steps at night. The clock above the nurse station blinks its red dots between the numbers. The board shows the plan, checks, times, initials. The plan looks strong. The plan does not walk the hallway. People do. A nurse swipes a badge and the door opens with a soft click. The hinge whispers and then holds its breath. She carries a clipboard, a pen, a small light. She moves like someone who has done this many times. She also blinks like someone who has not slept enough. On the desk, a paper cup of cold coffee waits and does not help. The girl's room is 3 doors from the end. A window the size of a book sits in the door. Through it, a bed, a thin blanket, a plastic chair, a call button that glows. The call button is a promise in a circle. All circles look safe. The camera above the corridor sees what it can. It sees a straight line. It does not see around corners. It does not see into rooms. It does not see the small moves that matter. It watches without learning. It records without feeling. On the wall near the station, a poster says constant observation, eyes on, alarms on, rounds on time. The letters are bold. The edges are sharp. A rule is a good teacher. A blind spot is a better thief. A tech checks the bed alarms. She taps a button. A green light blinks. She taps another. Nothing blinks. Battery, she asks. Someone says, use the spare. The spare is in a drawer. The drawer is in another room. By the time the spare arrives, a round is already late by 1 minute that no one can feel yet. The nurse looks at the schedule. 1:15, 1:30, 1:45. A rhythm like a drum. But other drums beat too. Room 5 needs meds, room 2 needs a blanket, room 9 needs a lift. The nurse is one person with 2 hands and 4 promises. She picks the first promise and hopes the other 3 do not break. In the girl's room, the air feels still. The girl watches the door. She hears shoes pass, then fade. She holds the call button once and then lets it go as if it might bite. She whispers a number to herself. 5. She does not say what 5 means. A second nurse passes the door and peeks through the small window. She sees a shape under a blanket. She writes observed, resting. The pen moves fast. The words look calm. The window shows only a slice of truth. The pen records the slice and calls it the whole. At the station, the printer spits out a form with many boxes. A hand signs, another hand stamps. The form says what the plan is. It does not say what the night will do. Down the hall, a door alarm chirps once, then stops. A tech says false. The sound goes back to sleep. The ward believes the tech. Everyone wants alarms to be wrong because when alarms are right, something is already late. The nurse steps into the girl's room at last. She uses the low light, speaks the girl's name, checks the chart, checks the wristband, checks the face. The girl answers in a small voice. The nurse softens. She adjusts the blanket, moves the cup closer, points again to the call button. She smiles the kind of smile that says, I'm here, and also the kind of smile that says, I can't stay. Then the radio at her hip crackles. Assist in room 12. The voice is calm and urgent at the same time. The nurse promises, I'll be right back. She steps out. The door closes. It closes softly like a secret. The clock turns to 1:22. The corridor is a hallway of almosts. Almost enough staff. Almost enough time. Almost enough eyes, almost. The camera blinks its red dot. It sees 2 doors, a section of tile, an empty chair. It does not see the small motion inside the 3rd door. It does not see the thought that grows when no one speaks. It does not see the moment when I'm fine cracks. At the station, the tech returns with the spare battery. She swaps it. The light turns green. She notes the fix. She does not note the minutes it took. The fix is real. The minutes are gone. A security guard signs the log and walks his route. He touches the crash bar of the exit door, hears the heavy click, nods, and keeps walking. He does not know that 1 floor up, a door looks the same but does not lock the same. He will never see that door tonight. His route is a loop and the loop is neat. Inside the ward, small rules tug at bigger rules. Only 2 staff per lift. Double check meds. Call for help, don't guess. Good rules, all of them. Each one takes time. Time is a currency. The ward is poor tonight. The girl sits up and swings her feet to the floor. The bed alarm should sing. It does not. The wire is snug. The light is green. But green can also mean not yet. She stands, pauses, listens. A cart rolls by in the hall. The sound is a shield and a cover at once. She steps to the door and looks through the book-sized window. The angle shows only empty tiles in the far wall. The corridor breathes in, breathes out. Everything looks safe when nothing moves. She lets the door latch settle without a sound. She counts again. 1, 2, 3. She reaches for the call button, then pulls her hand back. She touches the wristband. She touches the cold metal bar of the bed. She touches the edge of fear, which has no edges. At the station, the nurse returns and scans the board. A round is due at 1:30. She plans the path. Room 7, room 9, room 3, then the girl, room 6. A neat square on paper. The radio crackles again. The neat square breaks. Outside the room, a shadow slides across the floor where the camera cannot see. It is not a person yet. It is only a chance. It becomes a person when a door opens or a foot moves or a hand does not press a button. The poster on the wall sits silent, eyes on. The words are loud ink. They do not turn heads. The clock shows 1:27. The nurse tells herself, 3 minutes. 3 minutes is nothing in a day. 3 minutes is everything in a night like this. The girl steps back from the door and looks at the chair in the corner. It looks like a friend that cannot help. She looks at the window again. She listens for her name. No one says it. The quiet grows teeth. A staff member pushes a cart past the door and does not look in. Not from neglect. From habit. Habits are shortcuts that work until the one night they do not. The corridor stretches thinner like a rubber band about to snap, but not yet broken. The camera keeps its red eye open. The form waits for the next initials. The alarm waits for the next reason. The rule waits for the next person to follow it. 9. If someone turned their head now, they would see a small thing and stop a big one. If someone took 2 faster steps, the night would bend in a different way. But heads do not turn yet. Steps do not hurry yet. The night keeps its shape, and then the minute hand lands. 30. A round is due. A door is closed. A choice is made, by action or by delay. The ward holds its breath. This is the edge of the story. On one side, plan and paper. On the other, what actually happens when no one is looking. The next minutes will decide which side wins. 1:30, the minute lands like a quiet stamp. No alert, no shout. Just time moving, the round is due. The board says so. The poster says so. The promise says so. But promises need feet. A nurse turns to help in room 9. A tech signs a form. A guard checks a door on another floor. The camera blinks. The corridor holds its breath. Inside the girl's room, the blanket lies flat, then shifts, then stills. She sits on the edge of the bed. Her feet do not touch the floor at first. Then they do. The bed alarm should sing. It does not. A green light says okay. Green does not mean safe tonight. Green only means not seen yet. She stands. She waits. She listens. Silence is a clever mask. It looks like calm. It is not calm. 31. The nurse in room 9 says, almost done. The radio crackles with a different task. The plan on the board loses shape like chalk under rain. The corridor is empty for 6 heartbeats. The camera sees the empty space and thinks that is the story. The camera does not know what it cannot see. The girl touches the call button. Her thumb settles and lifts, not yet. The button glows, patient and proud, like a lighthouse that does not know the ship is already too close to rocks. At home, the mother wakes and checks the phone. No call. She smiles half a smile and falls back onto the pillow. They will watch her, she whispers. The words float into the dark and do not return. 2. A printer spits a page at the station. A pen hovers, then signs. A box labeled 1:30 round waits for initials. It is still empty. It will not stay empty for long. The girl looks through the book-sized window. The angle shows a straight line of tiles and a slice of wall. No faces, no eyes. She leans her forehead on the glass and closes her eyes for 2 breaths. When she opens them, nothing has changed. That is the problem. She turns her head toward the ceiling. The vent whispers. The light buzzes. The world is a small room with edges that feel too close. 3. Down the hall, a staff member stops at a medicine cabinet. The lock is old. The key sticks. Seconds stack, small but heavy. The guard on the floor below writes his time in the log. He taps the pen twice. He does not hear the beeps up here. He cannot. His job is a loop. The tech at the station checks the new battery again. Green. She nods. She does not know she is nodding at a light, not at a fact. The girl sits, stands, sits again. She whispers a single word that only she can hear. It could be why. It could be please. The word has no shape in the air. It only has weight. 34. A phone rings at the station. The nurse answers. Yes, we'll come. She means it. She also meant to do the 1:30 round. 2 true things can fight each other. Time always picks the winner. The clock moves without effort. The people move with effort. That is the fault line. The girl takes one slow step to the door. The sole of her shoe kisses tile. She stops. She looks at the call button again. She lifts her hand. She lowers it. A choice is not one step. It is many small steps, some forward, some back until one side wins. 35. The radio whispers, "Need eyes in room 12. The nurse hears it. She also hears another voice. "Family on line 1. She turns her head left, then right, like a person at a crosswalk with cars from both sides. She steps toward the phone. In the corridor, a housekeeping cart rolls past, wheels humming. The cart is high. It blocks the window of the girl's door for 2 seconds. 2 seconds is short. 2 seconds can hide a change. Behind the cart, the girl's hand touches the handle. The metal is cool. She pulls and lets go. She tests the sound of the latch. It makes a soft click like a secret being kept. 36. The lights in the ward shift from blue to white and back to blue again as a sensor tries to guess the room's mood. Machines love patterns. Nights do not. The tech marks the 130 box with a small dot, not an initial. A reminder to come back. A good idea, lost in a busy river. The dot is a promise to the future that the present cannot afford. The girl looks at the chair in the corner. The chair looks back in the way furniture looks. Loyal, quiet, useless. She breathes in deep. She holds it. She lets it go. She waits to feel different. She does not. 37. A door alarm chirps somewhere else on the unit. "False," someone calls. Everyone is glad to hear it. Fear relaxes. Focus moves. Silence returns to the wrong place. The nurse puts down the phone and looks at the board. She traces the path with a finger. Room 7, room 9, room 6. She starts to walk. The radio crackles again. She stops. New task. Old promise. Same 2 hands. In the girl's room, the air becomes heavy, as if the room is now smaller by an inch on every side. She steps back from the door. She sits, she stands. The floor feels like a question. T8, the camera blinks. The red dot is a heartbeat with no blood behind it. It sees a nurse cross the hall far away. It does not see the small pause at the girl's door. The girl is not in the frame. The frame is not the world. At home, the mother wakes again and checks the clock. 1:38. She does the math without wanting to. If they check every 15 minutes, someone has already looked in. Good. She breathes out, long. She does not know math can lie when people are tired. 39. A staff member stops at the station and says, "Did anyone sign 6? The tech answers, "I'm about to." She is honest. She is also 5 minutes late. The pen waits. The seconds do not. The girl picks up the cup of water and sets it down. The sound is small. It feels loud in her chest, not in the room. She steps to the window again. The hallway is still a picture. No motion, no eyes, no name called. The room feels like a box that wants a lid. 40. A shadow moves at the end of the corridor. Only a shadow, not yet a person. Then it is a person, the nurse, finally free. She turns toward the girl's door. She is 20 steps away. She is also 1 call away from being 20 steps longer. The radio crackles. She stops. She answers. "Go ahead." The shadow pauses on the floor. The camera sees the pause but does not know it is a pause. The camera knows only shapes. The moment slides past. 21. The nurse resumes and takes 10 steps. The housekeeping cart returns, wheels singing. It blocks the sight line again. The girl's door is there and not there, seen and not seen, safe and not safe all at once. Inside, the girl closes her eyes and presses the heel of her hand to her brow. The skin is cool. The room is cooler. The thought is not. 42. A clipboard claps onto the station desk. The tech initials 130. The box is full now. On paper, the promise is kept. On paper, time behaves. Paper is not the night. 43. The nurse reaches the door and looks through the book-sized window. She sees the bed. The blanket looks like a hill at dusk. She opens the door. The air of the room touches her face first, colder, stiller, different. "Hey there," she says, voice gentle. No answer, she steps in. The camera cannot see this moment. The board cannot feel this moment. Only a person can. Silence sits in the corner like a person who will not speak. Her breath changes. Her steps change. Her hand goes to the radio. "I need help now." The words are calm. The words are a blade. Feet hit tile. Wheels turn. Voices rise. The corridor wakes up late and loud. On the nightstand, the cup of water trembles from the movement beyond the door. One clear ring touches another and stops. Still. The guard on the lower floor hears nothing. The mother at home sits up, hand on phone, sensing a storm with no sound. 45. The ward moves as one body now, fast and wide-eyed. It is too late for paper. It is all action. It is all hands. It is all breath. The missing minutes are not missing anymore. They are here, standing in the middle of the room, heavy and cold, refusing to explain themselves. The board will show a full box. The form will show a neat line. The poster will keep its bold words. But in this room, the truth is not ink. It is air that will not warm, and that is where the night breaks. The door opens and the night rushes in. The nurse steps inside first. The room feels colder than the hall, like a place that shut its eyes. She says the girl's name once, then twice, no answer. The air does not move. Her hand goes to the radio. I need help now. The words are flat, not loud. Flat words mean urgency. Flat words carry farther. Feet hit the tiles outside. A second nurse appears, then a tech, then another. The cart arrives with a shiver of metal. The room is small for so many bodies. The silence breaks into short commands. Check. Hold. Ready. They speak in pieces because time is thin. The monitor wakes with numbers that do not comfort. The wires are straight lines that refuse to tell a story. A light flashes and then settles. The beeps come late, then too fast, then not enough. The team moves in a rhythm that they learned for nights like this. The rhythm is strong. The window is small. Stay with me, one nurse whispers to the girl, even though she knows whispers cannot change numbers. People still whisper. It keeps their hands steady. In the hall, the guard hears the change in voices and turns his route. In the station, the tech stands up so fast the chair hits the wall. The board on the wall looks the same. Boards always look the same. Boards do not feel impact. Down the street, the mother's eyes open before the phone rings. She sits up as if someone pulled a string. She stares at the silent screen. Something inside her knows. She does not know how. She only knows. Back in the room, the minutes stretch like wires pulled tight. Again. 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 The word means try. The word means do not stop. The word means we fight the clock even when the clock does not care. The corridor becomes a tunnel of moving shadows. A door chirps and someone silences it without looking. A cartwheel sticks and someone kicks it forward. No one thinks about the poster now. No one thinks about forms. This is not paper. This is the edge, call it. Someone asks, voice small. Not yet, the lead says. The radio crackles to other rooms and then goes quiet, as if the whole floor holds its breath with this one room. The mother's phone rings. She answers on the first vibration. She says, hello? Like a plea, not a question. The voice on the other end uses careful words. Careful words are heavy. Please come. The mother hears what is not said. She does not put on a coat. She does not lock the door. She takes the keys with shaking fingers and leaves the house as if the building itself is answering the phone for her. She drives faster than rules allow. Streetlights slide across the windshield like white bars. She does not count them. She counts only one word in her head. Please. The word hits the steering wheel. The word hits the glass. The word hits the night. At the hospital entrance, the doors breathe open. The guard sees her face and points. She runs past the desk, shoes slipping once on the clean floor. The elevator is slow, so she takes the stairs. Each step is a drum. Her chest is a second drum. On the unit, the door to the girl's room stands open but also closed. The way open doors close on people who are not ready. A staff member meets her with eyes that try to be soft and strong at the same time. It is hard to be both. They lead her to the family room first, the small one with 2 chairs and a box of tissues that looks too bright. Tell me now, she says, because waiting is a fire. The words come in a pattern she will remember forever. Even when she wishes to forget. We tried. We did everything. We are so sorry. There are many kinds of quiet. The quiet in the family room is the kind that removes sound from the world. She does not hear the machine hum. She does not hear her own breath. She hears a door fall somewhere inside her chest and hit the floor. She asks to see her child. They bring her. The bed looks smaller now. The blanket looks heavier. The room is warmer than before, or maybe that is a memory playing tricks. The mother sits in the chair that was a witness. It is too late for witnesses. She reaches for a hand and holds it. She says the name again. softer than a whisper, as if she is giving it back to the child who cannot keep it. The nurse stands 2 steps away and does not pretend to be stone. No one is stoned tonight. The lead nurse tells the team to take 5. They step into the corridor like people who went into a storm without coats. They hold their arms close. They look at the tiles. They look at the ceiling. They look at nothing. In the station, the board stays neat. The 130 box has initials from 142. The line is straight. The truth is not. A supervisor appears. Supervisors have a different kind of voice. "Secure the record," the supervisor says. "Save the logs. Note the times." The words are process words. Process is important. Process cannot hold a mother standing over a child's bed. A phone call goes out. To the administrator on duty, to the risk manager, to someone whose job is to answer hard questions with harder phrases. We are reviewing the case. We will cooperate fully. We take safety seriously. These are the sentences that live in drawers until nights like this. A second nurse cleans the room with careful hands. She is not cleaning because the room is dirty. She is cleaning because that is what she can do. She smooths the sheet. She moves the cup. She straightens the line of the pen on the table. She makes order where order broke. It is a small rescue, but it is a rescue. The guard writes a note in his log. He does not write what he feels. Logs do not have that box. The mother sits without moving for a long time that is not really long. Time stops obeying. It becomes a curtain. It becomes a wall. It becomes a question that cannot be answered. Why here? Why now? Why under watch? After a while, the supervisor asks if she wants water. She shakes her head. She is a stone and a storm at the same time. She asks for the truth instead. What happened? The supervisor says, "We will find out." It is true and not enough. In the staff lounge, the team sits with paper cups and empty words. Someone says, "I should have," and stops. Someone else says, "We followed," and stops. Sentences break before they end. Guilt and shock share the same chair. No one sleeps when they go home later. Some will not sleep for many nights. The printer at the station begins to speak again. It prints the incident report form. Boxes, lines, fields, times. Paper arrives and asks the night to become ink. The night does not want to. The night is a moving thing, a shape with edges that will cut anyone who tries to hold it wrong. In the morning, the statement goes out. It is short. It is careful. It says they are deeply saddened. It says there will be an internal review. It says nothing about the minute that slipped, the door that clicked, the board that looked full too late. News will spread. A headline will appear. People will ask questions in loud voices and quiet ones. Some will blame a person. Some will blame a system. Some will blame the night itself. The mother will not read comments. She will hold the sketchbook at home and touch the half-drawn eye with a fingertip that shakes. The hospital halls will fill with morning light, and the building will look normal again from the outside. That is the trick buildings know. Inside, the unit will not feel normal. Not to the staff who stood in that small room. Not to the tech who put a dot in a box. Not to the nurse who looked through a book-sized window and saw a hill of blanket at dusk. The aftermath is not just ours. It is a map with new places, investigation, policy, training, blame, grief. Some paths cross, some collide, some end at doors that do not open. But one path remains straight and hard. Answers. What do the records say? What do the rules demand? Who signed which line and when? Which alarms were on and which were only lights? The mother lifts her eyes and asks again, not loud, not soft, just true. Tell me what happened. And the night, now over, points to the papers and the cameras and the clocks and says nothing. Because nights do not talk, people do. Morning does not erase the night. It only gives it a sharper outline. A small room fills with papers. The supervisor sits at the head of the table. A risk manager opens a laptop. A stack of forms waits like a silent witness. On the wall, a clock ticks as if it wants to lead the meeting. Time always wants to lead. Let's start, the supervisor says. They open the record. The first page looks clean. Name, band number, admitted time. Close supervision. The words are strong. The ink is brave. The truth is somewhere between the lines. They flip to the rounds sheet. Boxes, times, initials. The 130 box is filled. The handwriting is neat. The pen stroke is dry, steady, certain. But a note in the margin, tiny, almost shy, shows a dot made at 136. A second note shows initials added at 142. The page tells 2 stories. Paper can hold 2 stories at once. People cannot. Who placed the dot? The risk manager asks. The tech, someone answers. Who initialed? The nurse. Why late? Other tasks. Short staff, short staff. 2 words that carry a hallway on their back. They pull camera logs. The system shows timestamps, not faces. 129:48, carton corridor. 131:07, corridor empty. 136:22, housekeeping cart blocks view. 40:10, nurse pauses, turns, answers radio. The red dot on the camera blinks through it all like a weak star. The camera is honest and limited. It sees what it sees. It misses what it misses. Next, alarm reports. Bed alarm status, green. Battery swap at 124, verification at 126. No subsequent alert at 130-140. A field at the bottom says, self-test pass, machines pass tests. Nights fail people, could the alarm fail? The supervisor asks. Not on paper, the tech says. The tech's voice is steady. The tech's hands are not. They bring in the staffing sheet, names, shift times, breaks penciled in like small islands in a storm. 3 names are circled. 1 was floated to another unit. 1 covered a lift that needed 2 people. 1 went with a patient to X-ray and never really came back from the schedule's point of view. The ward looked full on the board. It was hollow in the hall. A policy binder lands on the table with the weight of certainty. Constant observation. For high-risk patients, eyes remain on patient at all times, or checks every 15 minutes with documented rounds, alarms armed, and doors controlled. Clear. Large font. No wiggle. They turn the page. If staffing does not allow, escalate to supervisor. A quiet sentence. A lifeline that no one grabbed or grabbed too late. Was constant observation in effect? The risk manager asks. Checks every 15, the supervisor says. Were they every 15? On paper. The room goes still. Even the clock on the wall seems to wait for a better answer. They call the nurse. She sits straight, hands folded. She does not defend herself with big words. She uses small ones. Room 12 needed help. The lift took time. I was coming back. She looks at the round sheet as if a page can forgive. Pages cannot. People must, they call the tech. The tech tells the truth plainly. I put a dot to remind myself. I meant to go back. I did go back. It was late. The tech does not cry. The tech stares at the pen on the table like the pen chose the time. They ask about the door checks. The security log shows rounds each hour. The guard touched the crash bar at 1:20 on the lower floor. The unit door upstairs is not in his loop. It belongs to nursing. Nursing thought security had it. Security thought nursing had it. A gap shaped like a door. They open phone logs. A page of short calls. Assist in room 12. Need meds. Family on line 1. Many voices asking for help at once. No voice saying, I stop everything else. Watch her now. The system has no voice for that. It only has many small voices that fight each other until one wins by luck. The risk manager draws a timeline on a whiteboard. Black marker, clean lines, 124. Battery swap complete, 1/26. Alarm test pass, 1/30. Round due, no entry yet, 31. Nurse in room 9133, phone call at station 136. Cart block sightline 140. Nurse pauses. Answers radio 143. Nurse enters patient room 144. Code call, the line is straight. The night was not. Where did the system bend? The supervisor asks. Here, the risk manager taps 130. And here, they tap 136. And here, they tap 140. 3 soft turns that became a hard wall. Is it one person? Someone asks. It's never one person, the risk manager says. But it is always 1 minute. They review training logs. Everyone trained last quarter. Modules complete. Checkbox is green. The same shade of green as the bed alarm. The same question. Does green mean ready or does it only mean finished? They read the incident reports from last year. Near misses in tiny print. Round late by 7 minutes. Door sensor glitch. Camera blind spot noted. Each one fixed on the spot. Each one returned in a new shape. Warnings are polite until they aren't. A new page. Escalation policy. If risk rises, call for a sitter. 1 person. 1 chair. Eyes on always. Budget notes in the margin. Use only when essential. Who decides essential? The paper does not say. Paper doesn't decide. People do. People who are tired. People who are counting staff like coins. They bring in the mother, not to place blame on her, to answer her. She sits, hands in her lap. She looks at the whiteboard timeline and then at the faces in the room. You said watch, she says quietly. Who watched? Silence has different shapes. This one is narrow and sharp. The supervisor speaks carefully. There were checks. There were tasks. There was a delay. Who is responsible? She asks, another silence. The risk manager chooses the only honest road. We are finding that out, they say. But I can tell you this, responsibility is a chain. It is not one link, she nods once. Not acceptance. Not dismissal. A note inside herself that says, remember this sentence. The meeting moves to actions. Audit all alarms. Remap camera angles. Lock checks every 30 minutes. Staffing grid for nights. Escalation without penalty. Sitter criteria revised. The board fills with verbs. Verbs are good. Verbs must become ours, bodies, eyes. Before they end, the risk manager opens one more file. A list of names. Not staff. Patients. Cases flagged for close supervision in the last 6 months. The list is longer than the room feels ready for. Each name had a plan. Each plan leaned on the same thin places. Fix the thin places, the supervisor says. Now. The word now is loud. The building will test it. Outside the room, the ward looks normal. Bad nights hide fast behind daylight. Posters hang straight. Floors shine. The board is neat again. The camera blinks, but inside this room, the night is still on the table, cut into pieces, asking to be put back together without losing the truth. The mother stands. I will wait for your answers, she says. And I will not stop asking. No one tells her to stop. No one can. She walks out with a simple power, a question that will not sit down. The risk manager caps the marker. The clock on the wall ticks once, then again, like a small hammer tapping a larger bell. Responsibility is not a sentence on a form. It is a door someone opens, a call someone makes, a step someone takes at the right minute. The next part is not about blame alone. It is about what must change and how fast. Morning light enters the hospital, but it does not chase the night away. It only shows where the night still lives. The mother stands by a window that looks over the parking lot. Cars move in neat lines. Her thoughts do not. Behind her, a folder sits on a chair. Inside the folder, timelines, policies, initials, green lights, red dots. Paper has many colors. Grief has one. She breathes in. She speaks one line to herself, a promise. I will not let this fade. In the meeting room, the risk manager returns to the whiteboard. The marker squeaks once. The sound is small, but it opens a door. First, they say, what we know. They write in clear, simple words, she was 12. She came for care. She was marked for close supervision. Round was due at 1:30. A battery was swapped at 1:24. The alarm test passed at 1:26. The camera had a blind spot. The unit was short on staff. The nurse entered at 1:43. The code call came at 1:44. These lines stand like fence posts. They do not tell the whole field, but they mark its shape. Now, the risk manager says what we don't know. They write again, was the 1:30 check truly done? Was the alarm truly armed and active? Did anyone see warning signs and miss them? Which door was a gap? Who escalated and when? How many minutes did habits steal? Where did the plan stop being real? The room is quiet. The clock tries to lead again. Time is bold when people are unsure. The mother steps into the doorway. No one told her to come. She came anyway. She reads the 2 lists. She nods at the first. She stares at the second. She is not angry in this moment. She is something sharper. Focus is a kind of blade. She says, you told me watch. Show me the watchers. No one looks at their shoes. They meet her eyes. This is how truth begins, without a script. The supervisor clears a space on the board. What must change? The words land heavy. They must be more than ink. They draw 3 boxes. In each box, one word, eyes, alarms, time. Eyes. Eyes on means a person, not a promise, the supervisor says. We will add sitters for high risk. Who decides high risk? The mother asks. Not just budget, the risk manager answers. Risk tool plus nurse judgment plus family voice. Family voice, the mother repeats. Write that down. They write it down. 1 chair, 1 person, 1 child. No more blind windows. No more peek and pass. If the staff is thin, we do not pretend it is thick. Alarms. Green lights are not proof, the tech says softly. We need live tests. Every shift, the supervisor adds. Document with time and name. And if an alarm fails? The mother asks. Room on hold, the risk manager says. Eyes on until fixed. No exceptions. They add map every camera. Remove blind spots, tie bed alarms to the central board with sound, not only color. If a door can be a gap, it gets a sensor and a person. Time. Rounds every 15 sounds simple, a nurse says. Nights make simple things hard. Then time must be guarded, the risk manager replies. Protected rounds. They plan, a second person floats to cover calls during rounds. A timer that announces checks out loud. If a round is late by 2 minutes, the board flashes. Late rounds require a note, the reason and the recovery. Not blame, truth. The mother points to the second list, what we don't know. When will you know? 72 hours, the supervisor says. Preliminary. And full? 14 days, the risk manager answers. Complete. Share it with me, she says. All of it, not only the safe pieces. Yes, the supervisor says. No hedging. No if allowed. Just yes, they are not done. The risk manager uncaps a red marker. Culture. The word hangs in the air like a new door. It opens to a long hall. Culture is what people do when no one is watching, they say. Last night showed us we believed in paper more than people. Fix that, the mother says. Start today. So they set rules for things that cannot be boxed. Speak up rule. If your gut says watch her now, you call it, you own it, no penalty. Trade rule. You can trade a task for a check. You cannot trade a check for a task. Name rule. Say the patient's name at rounds. Names pull eyes to faces. Shadow rule. Leaders walk the unit at random hours. No warnings. Real nights, real eyes. Window rule. Every door gets a second angle, mirror or camera. No more book-sized illusions. The nurse who opened the door at 1:43 lifts a hand. Her voice is steady. I will teach the next night shift what this felt like, she says. Not the forms. The feeling. So they know why 2 minutes matter. The room shifts. Not a big shift. A human shift. The mother sits. Her hands open and close on the folder. She is not here to design a hospital. She is here to make sure another mother does not sit where she sits. That is purpose. Purpose is stronger than anger. Purpose can lift a building. The risk manager pulls one more page from the folder. A list of near misses that never became headlines. These, they say, are the small storms we survived by luck. Luck is not a plan. Turn them into lessons, the mother says. We will, the supervisor answers. And we will show you. They add a final line under what must change. Report out loud in public on a date. What was promised? What was done? What failed? What still needs work? No hiding. The meeting ends, but no one stands. Standing feels like leaving the promise on the table. So they sit 1 minute more. The clock ticks. For once, the clock is not the leader. The promise is, the mother rises first. I will be back on that date, she says. With her sketchbook, the tech looks up. Sketchbook? She left a drawing, the mother says. Half a face. One eye complete, the other just a circle. The room understands. They do not need a speech. Finish the eye, she says. Finish the part that sees. She walks out, not fast, not slow, strong. The door closes with the soft sound of a new start. On the unit, posters still hang straight. Floors still shine. Cameras still blink. But a new thing moves in the air. Watchfulness with a spine. Eyes that choose. Alarms that prove. Time that belongs to the child, not the board. What we know will be written in a report. What we don't know will be chased, tested, named. What must change has a list, a date, and people behind it. Outside, morning opens the sky a little wider. Inside, a nurse pauses at a door and looks twice, not once. A tech tests an alarm and waits for sound, not just green. A supervisor stands at the end of the hall and counts the seconds between checks. Culture is not ink. It is steps. It is heads turning at the right minute. The mother reaches her car and places the folder on the passenger seat. She touches the sketchbook next to it. She does not cry. She does not speak. She sets her hand over both and closes her eyes. The sun warms the dashboard. This story does not end with a sentence. It ends with a promise, and it begins again with work, because safety is not a poster. It is a person, because watch is not a word. It is a pair of eyes, because time is not a box to fill. It is a life to hold, and because one child's night should change every other child's morning.